Guys, this is the new Hobbywing 8BL150 G2 150 amp 6S ESC and new, larger G2 motor. And if these things turn out to be as good as I think they're going to be, this could represent the best value in bashing power systems available right now. Let's take a closer look. We get this new 8BL150 G2 ESC. This is a 6S 150 amp ESC. It has an updated fan design, new larger capacitors, a 7.4 volt 6 amp internal BEC. It is waterproof, dust proof. It has a new temperature sensor on it that keeps track of the temperature of these capacitors, which is going to help protect this thing from overheating and blowing up. It's got the same power switch that the Easy Run series does. This is really nice. Its predecessor just had the little flip switch. I think this is a much nicer solution. It's got some 10 gauge wire on it, and it has mounting holes in the bottom. To go along with that, we've got some stickers. We've got a mounting plate, which is really nice. We're not actually seeing this in the Max 8 anymore. And I think it's a sad omission because this mounting plate comes in really handy. Got some VHB for mounting the switch and the ESC, some screws. We've got the manual here. While we have this manual out, let's take a look at the programming features. As you can see here, we've got running mode, cutoff voltage, punch, brake force, max, reverse force, which does go up to 100%, which is really nice to see. A neutral range, timing, LiPo cell count. You do have a 5S option, which is really cool. Previously, 5S was not an option. And that BEC voltage, which lets you go up to 7.4 volts, which is really nice. Now, to go along with this, I'm actually really excited about this motor. It's a 4274. The old motor that came along with the Max 8 G1 series was also a 4274, but it was 2200 kV. And unlike this motor, that 4274 was actually a 4074 with some external cooling ribs on it. This is a true 42 millimeter diameter can motor, which means that there should be more beef inside of this thing, and it should be more powerful. Got a 5mm shaft here. We've got both the large and small mounting options here. 10 AWG wires here, 6.5mm connectors. Now make sure you stay tuned because we're gonna be putting this thing in a big truck and doing some serious bashing on it. But before we do, I wanna take this motor apart, see what's inside and see how it looks. All right, let's get this end bell off of here. So if you've never seen one of these before, this is just a standard aluminum end bell. We've got the rear bearing in here, and then we've got the rotor tucked down in here amid a bunch of windings. These windings are where the actual power goes through the motor. These are actually some nice, thick-looking motor windings. I'm used to seeing thinner wire in here, so I definitely think they made some improvements on this. Pushing this rotor out, we can see we've got a pretty interesting setup here. Normally I would expect to see some Kevlar wrapped around this, but we've actually got some laminations here, and the magnets are going to be down inside there. This is an interesting design. We can see that we have balancing right here in the front and in the back, so this is a balanced rotor, and everything looks pretty standard inside there. Looks like a pretty well designed and pretty well put together motor. I do like to see the branding on these bearings. They're not no-name bearings, which is really cool to see. Let's get this back together and get it in the truck. This is a Hobbywing Hyper MTX, and this is a big truck. This is bigger than 1/8 scale, closer to 1/7 scale. I normally run a Max 6 in this, so it is really gonna be pushing this 150 amp combo to its limit. We're gonna be running it with these stock Hobbywing tires, but if it can survive those, we're gonna switch over to these much larger Traxxas XRT tires and see how it handles those. I 3D printed some adapters for it. Hopefully these things will hold up. We're gonna find out. All right, let's get this thing installed. Guys, motor and ESC are installed. Got a couple of things to tell you about this installation that are important. Before we do that, if you're enjoying this, make sure you get subscribed because we got a lot more of this stuff coming up. Couple of things to note on the installation. Always make sure if you're using screws on this ESC that you use the right length screws. Those screw holes are pretty shallow, and right on the other side of that plastic is the circuit board. So if you use screws that are too long, you're gonna jam them into that circuit board and destroy this ESC. Now finally, make sure that you use the programming instructions in the manual. Don't use this label that came with it. And don't use the instructions for the previous Easy Run ESCs. This thing does not follow that same convention. And strangely enough, you can't reverse motor direction programmatically in this. It's fine because all you have to do is switch any two of these motor wires on the ESC to reverse the motor. But if you like your wires perfectly organized like I do, that might be a little bit annoying. I'm gonna button this thing up, get some tires on this truck. Let's see how well this thing handles some bashing and abuse. Well guys, as usual, this truck is a blast, and this combo is really starting to impress me. It's running cool and it's powerful, and there's actually a feature in this that I wasn't expecting. I'm gonna tell you about that when I give you my final thoughts. But for now, let's go ahead and get these giant 1/5 scale XRT tires on there. They're gonna put a lot more strain on this system. Let's see what it can actually handle. A little bit of a truncated session there, but the temps held up great. Unfortunately, my 3D printed adapters did not. That's not a big surprise. I didn't think we'd get to this point, but let's put the original tires back on and go do some speed runs, see if we can overheat this thing. Guys, I don't know what kind of secret sauce they put in this combo, but I can't get it to overheat. Running it up and down the street like that should make this motor get pretty darn hot. I know I wasn't going full speed, but these tires won't let me, and trust me, I've run a lot of cars up and down that street before and overheated a lot of motors. Keep in mind too, it's 100 degrees outside right now. That means if you look at these temperatures, they're only like 40 degrees over ambient. Like I said, I don't know how they're doing this. There isn't even a fan on this motor. This truck is big, it's heavy. This is not a 1/8 scale truck. This is a 1/7 scale truck. The stock system that came in this was a G2 8BL150, and it overheated all the time. There was one other really seriously unexpected thing about this system. Check this out. Look how slow this truck is going. This is not slowed down. This is a sensorless system, and it works almost like a censored system. Again, I don't know what kind of secret sauce they've got in this thing, but I'm telling you, for $125 for the combo, that's cheaper than the G1 combos they pull out of trucks like the Red Cat Kaiju. $125 for this, I can't see how you could possibly go wrong. Get yourself one of these right now. Go have fun with it. And if you had fun with this video, make sure you get subscribed and check out this next one.